All right. I've been gone for a while for some like family stuff. Um, and there's been a lot of music that's been released, and I've missed out on stuff I haven't reviewed. And I thought, why not just review it all in one video? Get one big formal review out. Just review all this. We got albums, we got singles, which I'm probably just gonna give my thoughts on. Probably no actual like number system or anything. Um, Maybe later though. Basically, so I can next time a release comes out, I can just go and talk about it. And anyways, okay, let's get started. Here we are, music review. All right, first up, we have this Asa album, Good Villainy. Actually, Asa and BigMan project collab. It's the first time they were Big Man's made music, and it was on this big collab project, and it's a old timey feeling album that really fits this nice narrative. That's sort of a concept album, but also sort of not. Incredible features from everybody, especially Big Man. That guy never gives himself enough credit. He's almost as humble as J. Cole, I'd say. But you also got features from Classify here, Project, which I believe was his first he had done in a while here. Now, okay. Anyways, also you got your classic box feature and your Classify feature. You always got to get those. 7 tracks. But you also got some interludes and stuff, which is interesting. I think those work very well. The whole thing flows nicely, and it's a very consistent set list of tracks. Um, and yeah, overall, it's a really solid project. I think it's gotta be Ace's strongest material to date. Spoilers. Um, Actually, I think I forgot one of his projects to put on this slide, but I'll mention it when it's appropriate. For the formal album review of this thing, though, I think I'm feeling an 8. Liking it quite a bit. All right. Favorite tracks? I'm not. I don't do that. Anyways, next we had the single by Big Man. Um, Still his only solo work yet. He released this before the album. And oh, I guess I also forgot to talk about Superhero Freestyle. Pretty good stuff. Nice. Lead up to the album. Anyways, Stronger Men. It's a pretty solid track from Big Man. It's definitely got my hopes up when I first heard this verse. I was like, okay, he could really be cooking up something fire with Asa, and I definitely wasn't wrong. You got some really nice bars on this song, like yeah, don't like women, they're not worth the dough, just let them go, or or just like classic things like dang, what was it? Uh, it was yeah. Anyways, pretty good song. Okay. Before getting into this next thing, also not too long after this, he released Freezing Dawn tapes. Asa did. Kind of a sequel mixtape to Burning Dusk tapes. I don't have it here on the slide. I forgot to do that. My bad. But I will still give that a formal ranking. Now, the original Burning Dust tapes, it really wasn't that strong to me. It kind of had some tracks that just didn't really feel like they belonged there. There was a few stands out, but that's about it. Freezing Dawn tapes, though, definitely ups things quality wise. It's quite a bit better in my opinion. Yeah, you got stuff like uh, Audio Jungle with Classify, both really good verses from them. And then you have things like Don't Like Tree, which also have BigMan on them. It's one of the weaker songs on the project, to be honest. But overall, throughout the whole thing, I feel like it's more consistent. The recording song, I would say it's about better than the recording one on original tape, on Burning Dust tapes. Not really saying much, but pretty solid all the way through. And I think I'm feeling like a light. Yeah, I think I'm gonna give it like a light 7. It definitely could be stronger, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I would recommend going and giving it a listen. All right, and everything else I've talked about here so far, also give those stuff a listen, of course. Now we have this single from Classify. Not other than Classify the GOAT. Mr. Grooming. This is a diss track off of Mr. Deceivings, featuring Project, Box, Asa, and it really just tears into him. This Mr. Deceivings guy. I like the part where it's like, oops, don't drop the soap, and then at the end of the song here, just Mr. Deceivings getting absolutely clapped at the end. Now, I think there's some solid verses on here, but I mean, they're okay, you know. But also, Classify comes on here and he's completely off beat, like the whole time. And, you know, I feel like this thing has grown off me the more I've listened to it. Like, after last listen, I was like, this really isn't that good. But, you know, I'll still give it like a 6, though. I'm not supposed to be giving singles ratings, so just ignore that. But anyways, this was all a big lead up to, along with a couple other singles, to Magnum Opus, Classify's latest project. And wow, this thing is incredible. I still don't know if it's quite as good as Soaring, but it's definitely a close second. Narratively, it is very consistent sounding the whole way through, with this really see ya theme. And you really just got this dark, ominous vibe throughout the whole thing. 10 tracks, his longest project yet. There's a couple tracks you could maybe consider filler, but even those are pretty decent. And then you just have songs like Plastic, which are absolute peak. BigMan verse, which is absolute peak, of course. It's BigMan. He really snaps on there. And actually a debut verse from Lil Willie on here, which we will talk about later. Now, this thing is incredible. It's not perfect, but it almost is. And I think it almost achieves... Like, it's up there with Soaring, although Soaring is just aged way too well. Soaring's the best. Ripped up jacket made of leather. It's just so goated. But I'm still gonna give this thing like a 9, man. Yeah. Go give that a listen. Album Freestyle. This thing was released actually before Freezing Dawn tapes. But I think this is really supposed to be the lead up to the Freestyle album. Pretty decent freestyle. Not as good as his first two, but I think it's still pretty solid. As far as freestyles go, especially considering everything we have now, which I will talk about now. Freestyle. This is an album with what? I think this has like 16 tracks on it, which is absurd, of just straight freestyles. I believe Asa recorded like 20 plus freestyles for this. It's all him, no features. It's just a bunch of freestyles, and you know, there's definitely some decent freestyles on here, some pretty good ones, but there's also some not great ones, and this thing's 16 tracks long. It's bloated. Who asked for this? I don't think people really got time to listen to this. It's a lot. There's definitely some good takeaways, but other than that, man, it exists. Should you listen to it? I don't know, man. It's a lot. It's a lot. And even if you love freestyles, like yeah, freestyle and freestyle, this none of the freestyles touch those. Maybe this is just bias from hindsight, but you know, that I'm there are some good moments on here though. Like you have the song "Election Freestyle," um, where he says, "I don't eat no apples. I let the doctors come so I can beat them up instead of them running away from me," which I think is a pretty tough line. And I think it goes pretty hard. And a lot of this does. There's definitely some highlight tracks, but half of it is just like, I feel like he could have trimmed down half of this album and actually had it been a pretty good project. But as it is right now, and probably always will be, I'm feeling like a strong 6, I guess. I don't even know, just a 6, really. Again, if you are in absolutely in love with the idea of Asa doing 16 freestyles on an album that are all not the best, then go nuts, go bananas. Watch my income go up. It's about to go nuts. But yeah, that's all there is really to say for that. 941 freestyle. This was actually released relatively recently. This thing is his latest freestyle. Whoa, we couldn't tell. I love the cover here. Nut and a half. Caution if you look, you may bleed. Nut and a half is just such a classic. Those who know. Now he is just saying 941. Those who know over and over, but I do feel like there's a deep meaning to it. Like it's really deep in the lyricalness, and I think he's really trying to criticize capitalism and all these really corrupt government things going on. You have to look kind of deeply into it, but once you do, it really unlocks the potential. It's got me excited for whatever he has got up next. I think the 941 album's up next. I haven't heard anything from it. I'll let you guys know if there's leaks. I do have my hands on some old stuff that I've been giving to from some viewers who was like, hey, I have these old versions of these classified songs. If you want to listen to them, maybe review them. And I might get to that if you guys want. Pretty good, though. Lastly, we have I'm just bundling these two together. The Lil Willie singles. He released 2 singles after his debut on Plastic on Magnum Opus. I had stuff I was gonna say. What was I even gonna say? These songs definitely do exist. Now, for those of you who don't know, this guy was locked up. Actually for life, I believe. But he just started making music after that, and I don't know, man. It's just I'm sure there was people anticipating him dropping singles. I'm sure there's people who are anticipating this stuff, but to be honest, I wasn't. I don't. They exist, man. If you want to listen to them, sure, but he definitely needs some work in a couple places. But yeah. That is it. I think I'm going to do these kind of videos, switch it up a little bit more and more often. That is the whole review of everything that I've missed. Goon Bye and Goon Riddance.